is time. It's Thursday night, which means it's time for Art Pastor Live. Welcome. I'm so glad to be going live tonight. My name is Steve Thomason. I am a visual artist. I'm a pastor, rostered clergy in the ELCA, Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, and I'm a professor of spiritual formation at Luther Seminary, where I'm also the dean of the chapel. You put all of those things together, and that makes me the art pastor. Well, it doesn't make me the art pastor. That's what I call my digital ministry. And one of the things that I love to do as the art pastor is to live stream. Now, the whole purpose of Art Pastor is to create a space where together we can explore spirituality and scripture through visual art and creativity. And I like to go live streaming as often as I can to create a piece of original art. I go for about an hour, and the challenge when I live stream is to create a piece of art from scratch. And it is a contemplative practice because, quite honestly, one of the ways I connect with God, one of the ways that I just relax and um, rest is through art. And so this summer, this series I've been going on Thursday nights. My whole purpose for this summer is to just enjoy the process of creating and share that joy with you and hopefully to be encouraging to you. And so tonight we're going to do something that I'm really excited about. We're going to do some animation. Oh, yeah. I love animation so much. I've always been a fan of animation. And when I was in high school, I got really interested in animation and really wanted to become, a Disney animator because who doesn't want to become a Disney animator, right? Um, but I did become an animator and I've done a lot of animation throughout my life. And today I'm going to show you how I do animation in an app called Procreate Dreams, which is a fantastic app. And if you've been watching my live streams in the past, and by the way, if you are with me online, hey, Cindy Bailey's here. All right, Cindy, thanks for dropping a note in the chat. Um, and the rest of you, if you're live and I'd love to hear from you, find out where you're uh, tuning in from, and we're just gonna have super fun time tonight. Um, I'm going to show you how I sketch by animating. And the cool thing about this app, so like I said, if you've been watching my live streams, you know that I love to draw in an app called Procreate on my iPad because it's the best drawing app. Tom Weber, hey Tom, good to have you, man. Um, Procreate's just fantastic. Well, the company that makes Procreate, last year they came out with an animation app that's built on the same platform and principles as Procreate, but it's animation and it is so fun to use. And so, quite often in the evenings, instead of sketching something in Procreate, I'll just open up Procreate Dreams and I'll do a quick animation. And so that's what I want to do with you tonight, because it's just a way to relax and be creative and hopefully you'll enjoy the process. So it is a contemplative practice for me. And so I always like to start my live streams with lighting a candle. If I can get it lit. There we go. So I'm lighting the candle, and the candle reminds me that it is the Holy Spirit that draws us together and unifies us, the ultimate creator. I'm going to put that right up here, and we're going to dive in. Oh, I got to switch over to my Procreate. Got some chill music on, and I'm going to open up Procreate Dreams. So here it is. And I thought the first thing that I might do, and again, if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the chat and I'd be happy to have this conversation with you. But I thought I'd just show you some of the sketches that I've done, like something as simple as just sitting around and playing around with making weird things happen. It's just a fun evening, right? And so that's an example of a sketch that I might do. Another sketch that I might do is this kind of a thing where I just make a Bob the Blob kind of fly around. That's pretty fun. And I'm going to show you how I do these things in a minute. Here's one. I'm actually going to pause my music for a second because I think the music, just turn it off for just a second. Music's distracting me while I'm talking. So here's another one. This is a fun animation that I tried. I'm going to make this go larger.
What are we reading this week?
Go back to the beginning. Here we go. So you see how I have this little spot on the O? My studio used to be called Spot Studios, and this little spot was kind of my logo. And so I thought I might incorporate the spot into my Art Pastor stuff. So check this out. I call Spot. It's like, hey Spot, come here.
Hey Spot.
And Spot comes and I'm like, hey Spot, what are we reading today in the lectionary? And he's like, I don't know, let me see. And then boing, he opens up and then the lectionary text appears on there. And I'm like, hey, wow, thanks. I appreciate that. Whoop, you got it. Boom. And he goes back. That's as far as I've gotten with that idea, but it's kind of fun. Let me know what you think of that. Here's a fun one that I did. It's got a color, and I'm playing around with making a flame move, and you can see there's a drip on the candle, and then there's this weird thing flying around, another Bob the Blob flying around. That's pretty fun. And then here's one that I did actually for commercial purposes. I use this in a Faith Lead course, and it's a really complicated.
Then it moves from the eastern horizon across the sky in an arc above us and slips down below the western horizon. And during the night, the stars appear. If it's a clear night, the stars are so bright and there are so many that it feels like you can reach out.
I'll just show you one more that I think is kind of fun. This one I just did this week to make sure that I could do it quickly for a live stream. But check this out. I think this is fun. This background is a photograph. It's a photo of a painting that I did in my sketchbook. So the original is 8 inches by 8 inches in my sketchbook up at Camp House a couple of weeks ago. I painted this in gouache. And so I brought that image into Procreate Dreams, and I did this little animation. A Bob the Blob goes to the beach is what I call this one. And so he flies around the tree, comes up and splats back down. So that's pretty fun. Animation's not as exciting without sound effects, but we're not doing that tonight. So, okay. So I thought it would be kind of fun to just, I'm go ahead and turn the music on. I think I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. And this would be an example of what I might do in the evening to be like, hey, you know, I feel like animating today. And so when you open up Procreate Dreams, you can choose the size of screen. You can do an ultra wide screen, a wide screen, the size of your iPad screen, or a square screen, or social media like a vertical one. I'm going to go to the screen size, and I'm going to start it empty, it's called. And so what you've got is you've got two sections. You've got the stage up on top, which is where the animation's actually happening. And then down here you have all your tracks. And so let me just show you. You start with a blank stage. And the first thing you want to do is hit this button and create a new track. And I'm going to start off with a little bit of introduction to animation and just show you some of the principles, because I think it's really, really cool and super fun. But one of the things to keep in mind with animation is you can see that the whole thing about animation is it is just an illusion of movement, where any movie that you watch is just a series of still frames moving in front of your eye at a super fast pace. And the standard back in the 20th century, before video came around, when we watched actual films, the standard was 24 frames, 24 still frames of film per 1 second of movie. And so that became the industry standard. And so animators in the 20th century had to draw 24 drawings in order to get 1 second of motion. And so I'm gonna play with a half second of motion of 12 frames. And so just let me just show you what I'm talking about. So the first thing I want to do is we're going to just create a layer, and I'm going to come up here. I'm going to choose this. It's called the syrup brush. And you can see how this is a lot like Procreate, where you have brushes and you have layers that you can do. And the first thing I want to do is just show you how the frames work. So we're going to work with 12 frames, right? So this would be frame number 1, and this is frame number 12. And so halfway through would be 6, right? And then halfway through that would be 3. Halfway through this would be, is that right? 6? Yeah, this is, and then this is 9. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I did that wrong, because it's not actually halfway. 1, 12, and then you've got 6 and 7 are actually the middle one, 6, 7. And then halfway through that is 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm off to a bad start here. Let me do it this way. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. So when you're animating, you need to think about space and time. And so this is one track, and I'm just gonna make this track. I'm gonna fill this. So this is a layer underneath. I'm actually gonna move it over just a bit. There we go. Now I'm gonna create a new track, and this is a track that we're gonna draw on. Okay. This is a little flip book, but I'm gonna introduce you to, we're gonna talk about Bob the Blob, right? So this is this little dot. So let's say we want this dot to move over to number 12, to move from 1 to 12, and we want to do it. There's different ways you can do it. So this is frame number 1. Now you notice how he turns purple. That's called an onion skin. So that lets me see the drawing right before it. So notice if I draw a similar dot under the number 2, and then under number 3, under number 4, number 5, just drawing. Okay, so that's our final resting place. I'm going to be done. And now I have 12 drawings. And see how it moves across the screen? Like, that's pretty fast and pretty boring, right? Now watch what happens. I'm going to make another track. And this time, instead of making them evenly spaced, I'm going to take the first one and the second one, I'm going to make them close together. So we're going to do the first 4 kind of close together. 4. Actually, we're going to do the first 5 kind of close together. And then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now notice what happens when I move it back and forth. The thing about animation is the more space you have between drawings, the faster the movement. Watch what happens when I play this one. Go back to the beginning. I can zoom in on my frames here, like that. You see the difference in how they move? There's the one on the bottom. It's what's called easing in and easing out. So the timing is way different. Now, I think this is moving a little too fast. And so one of the things I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take I'm going to change the settings on this, on the properties, and I'm going to make the frames per second down to 12 frames per second. And so now this is going to move a little slower. Yeah, there we go. So that's kind of cool. Now let me show you this. I'm going to come back up here. I'm going to make this go back up to 24 frames per second. And one of the things that we can do is we can choose these frames. We can group them. And then we can change no, I can double the time on it. Make it go all the way to 1 second, like that. Something's wrong. If I group these, never mind. Okay. Now watch this. This is going to be fun. I'm just going to start a new track. I'm going to start over. And I'm going to show you how to make the little guy jump. So I want my guy to start here. And then he's going to end up over here. But we're going to make him anticipate just a little bit. He's going to stretch. And then he's going to slow down a little bit. See, this is my flip book where I can move him across like that. See how he like anticipates the movement and then he jumps quick and then he kind of hangs up in the air. And now he's going to come back down. I want to see where he started here. And he's going to land like that. He's going to flatten way out. And then he's going to come up. He's going to kind of bounce back. And then come to a nice resting spot. Let's see how that comes, how that plays. It's kind of fun. Now that moves really fast. And so what I can do is take each frame and make them last for 2 frames each. If I grab the edge of the frame and then hold my finger down, it will extend the frame for as many frames as I make it go. Like that. So now, see how it moves much slower? Now, let's come over here, and I want to just let him sit there for a few frames before he starts off to his jump. And I don't know what that last, oh, it's picking up that last frame. So let's let him sit here like that. Let's extend that last frame. And I'm just trying to get the frames. If I get the frames in there, it'll just play what I have showing down here. So isn't that nice? That's much slower because I reduced it. I extended it to 2 frames per drawing, which really slows down the movement. That's pretty nice. So those are some basic principles of animation. And so what I thought I might do today is just show you some, we're gonna do kind of a Zentangle animation and see what happens. So I'm gonna start a new frame. We'll start with empty. And I want to, you know that I like to bring down the, I don't want it to be bright white necessarily. So now there I have it. So now I have this whole track here. I'm gonna make that a background, then I'll be able to draw over the background. I'm gonna make a new track, and I'm just gonna do some Zentangle-y kind of sketching for a minute, just as a let's see if I make I'm going to create my Zentangle. Thought it might be kind of cool. What would happen if I took a classic Zentangle and put some animation into it? I don't know. I'm just making this up. So I'm going to create another layer. I'm going to do fill duration. So that's another layer. And I'm going to come down here and add a track underneath that. And do some painting. Let's do some washes of some nice colors. I like orange today. Yeah, we'll just do some oranges. And yeah. I think I'm just gonna spin around the color wheel just to give some interest to this. Not exactly sure where we're going to end up with this, but I've got an idea that I think might be cool. If you're not familiar with Zentangles, you might want to go back and you can Google them. You can check my different Zentangles videos that I've done in the past. So we're going to do fill duration and do another track. And I'm going to go ahead and take a bright white. I'm going to take a medium brush. Brushes are just a little bit different in, there we go, in Procreate Dreams. Yeah, okay. I'm going to fill in my ribbons with pure white so that stands against, in contrast to the background. And I'm going to take a new layer and just do a little bit of shading. Make that with a nice soft airbrush. Oh, that's not going to work because it's underneath it. So I need to bring this layer up on top. There we go. All right, so now let me do fill duration on that. And now I'm going to group all of these. And now we're going to start doing some animation. And I think this is going to be fun. So I'm going to take, let's take a little orange dude. We use our syrup brush. Yeah. No, I think I want him to be a little bit brighter than that. Yeah, there we go. And he's going to get excited about wanting to move forward. And then he's going to go I'm gonna draw a few of them close together. Now here's that's kind of fun. Get him all the way to the end. And then he's going to start picking up speed. One of the things with motion is when something is going fast, it gets longer. And then we'll let him bottom out here. And he'll come to a nice slide. Okay, so let's see how that animation looks. First thing I know I want to do is I want to make this, I want him to stand there for just a little bit. And then I want this one to, he's going to hang back just a little bit. So, whoop. Okay. Let's see what happens. Haha, that's kind of fun. And then we want him to stay there. Let's have that go to fill duration. So now we have this animation is starting. Okay. We're going to see what happens. Now I'm going to make a new layer. I'm actually going to start it about right here. I'm going to make a new track. the track is like a layer. And I want to draw. And I think I'm going to make purple guy who's going to come from off the frame like that. And he's going to, or it, I don't know, is going to go around this thing. Like it's going. Yeah, that's kind of fun. So I'm trying to visualize it being a three-dimensional tube, and this little slug, like this little jelly bean, is kind of just sliding around. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's really fun. Yeah, let's just keep that going. This is what in the animation world is called straight ahead animation, where you don't pre-plan it, you just kind of let it evolve. And again, while I'm sitting here in the evening doing something like this, it's another form of contemplative sketching, because my mind just gets kind of lost in the repetitive process and the creative process. Now I'm going to imagine that this little guy is going to go underneath this one. Like that. So as an animator, I need to be keeping in mind like the 3 dimensions and how this little object is moving in space. There's physics behind it, right? Now imagine that you're animating a complicated character like the Beast in Beauty and the Beast, and you had to do this for every 24 frames per second. And that's what the Disney animators had to do back in the day. I guess I'll make him go off screen. He started off screen. Okay. Let's see what I just created. Because it's kind of crazy. Here we go. Oh. I didn't get it all in. There we go. See, because what I'm doing down here is I can zoom in on the frames that I want it to play for me. And so, haha, look at that. That's kind of fun. Oh, it's the payoff at the end of the drawing cycle there. So I think I'll do one more. And this one, let's see. Yeah, I think okay, I got an idea. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to make a new track. And on this one, I'm going to actually do a yellow, kind of a gold. And I want it to start, I need to do it a little bit darker so I can see it. There we go. And I'm going to make it, this one's going to do something different. I'm going to have it actually this one's going to be flying. And I'm going to have it come toward you at in the camera. See, by making it get bigger, makes it look like it's coming towards you. See if I put this up. It's coming toward you like that. And then I'm going to have it I'm going to go off camera just a little bit. It's going to slow down just a little bit. And then I'm going to have it zap like that. And then something big's going to happen. So let's see how that movement goes. Okay. So this one that ends, I'm going to do fill duration there. And then I'm going to create a new track right here. And I'm going to choose an airbrush. I'm going to make this white. I'm going to do big ol' airbrush. I'm going to make this blend mode add. We're going to make this fill duration. Then we're going to animate that where that's going to be really small, like that. And then it's going to go like that. And it's going to hold like that. And then it's going to go back down. Let's see how that goes. Okay, let's see what kind of crazy animation I just came up with. Let's go back to the beginning. Here we go. That's it. I just created an animation. It's kind of fun. And if we play it here, it'll just loop over and over. Sometimes when I'm done with an animation, I just like to watch it over and over again. Yeah, very cool. All right. I'm going to end by telling you a quick story. When I was back at, when I was up at Camp House, there were these two little boys that wanted to see my iPad. And so I showed them around on Procreate Dreams. And they said, can we make an animation? I said, sure, you guys direct me. And they said, let's make a stick man walking off a cliff. And they're like, well, why is he walking off a cliff? It's like, well, because he's looking at his cell phone and not paying attention. And so they're telling me what to do. And so I ended up doing this little animation with these guys. It was so much fun. So he's walking along and he steps off the cliff and boom. Super fun. And that probably took like 15 minutes with those two boys. And we had so much fun together. So I just love animation. I think it's really, really fun. And I don't know about anybody else, but I had fun tonight. And that's all I was hoping to be able to do. And thanks for joining me. Again, this is Procreate Dreams, and it's a way to do animation. And as you can tell, just by those simple little animations we did, animation is a really time-consuming process. But I think it's really fun. It's a way that I sketch. It's a way that I think about movement and time and just lose myself in the process. So thanks for joining me tonight. Again, I'm Steve Thomason. I'm the art pastor. And my purpose for art pastor is to explore spirituality and scripture through visual art and creativity. Sometimes just the joy of creating is part of my spirituality, how I connect with God and with others. And the reason we do all of it is so that together we can grow deeper in the love of God through Jesus Christ and the power of the Holy Spirit for the sake of the world. So thanks for joining.